divine alert was released over your life, but you haven't responded. Heaven won't wait much longer. What was meant to elevate you may now be reassigned. This is your final call. At the turning of seasons, when the earth shifted and the spiritual winds changed direction, heaven released a divine alert over your life. This was not a mere whisper of intuition. It was not a passing thought or a coincidence wrapped in emotion. It was a heavenly summons, a sacred dispatch from the throne room itself. The hour had come when the scroll bearing your name was lifted once more, when the trumpet of transition blew softly in the spirit. And yet you did not move. When heaven's clock struck this hour, something in the spirit realm opened. It was a moment pregnant with divine possibility, the kind of moment that only arrives a few times in a lifetime. Angelic messengers were dispatched to nudge your awareness. You may have heard them in dreams, felt them in sudden disruptions, or glimpsed their presence in conversations that echoed strangely louder than others. The patterns were precise. The signs were sacred. The warning was clear. But the response was silent. Heaven has waited. But heaven does not wait forever. The realm of glory operates on eternal time, but your opportunity exists within human windows, fragile, fleeting, and filled with consequences. This message is not sent for every ear. It is not crafted for the curious or the casual. This alert has been released only for those who feel something stirring inside their chest even now, that knowing, that ache, that spiritual itch that says, something is expiring in my atmosphere and I cannot ignore it anymore. The divine condition still remains. Stillness, obedience, and repentance are the keys to reactivation. This is not punishment, it's protocol. Heaven will not release what you are not prepared to carry. And until your posture changes, the promise remains pending. But listen well. There is urgency wrapped in mercy. What was meant to lift you, elevate you, even redefine you may now be reassigned to another if your spirit remains unmoved. This is not because heaven has forgotten you, but because heaven refuses to delay destiny. A river is moving. The oil is shifting. The mantle is searching for shoulders ready to bear the weight. You are hearing this message because mercy is still reaching for you, but the clock is nearly done ticking. This is your final call. Type "I receive this warning" in the comments. Lesson code 333 is covering your obedience. By the authority of the living God, this message comes not as suggestion, but as divine interruption. It is not advice. It is not encouragement. It is a summons from the throne of heaven. It arrives clothed in urgency and wrapped in fire. It is the sound of heaven knocking once more, not because you missed it, but because you delayed. This is not condemnation. This is correction wrapped in mercy. Heaven is making a final call, and not in metaphor, not in poetry, but in spiritual reality. Before this week closes, decisions must be made. Before the sun sets on the seventh day, your yes or no will echo through realms unseen. The Spirit of the Lord has hovered long over your indecision, long over your doubt, long over your silence. But now, the weight of glory can wait no longer. In the halls of eternity, scrolls remain half-sealed. Angelic scribes hold back their pens. Gateways have been opened, but not yet activated. The heavens are watching, not in frustration, but in divine pause. As your movement determines the momentum of what comes next. There is a line being drawn, not on earth, but in the spirit. And you are standing upon it. This is not a message for the many. This is not for the casual listener, or the spiritually numb. This is not for those scrolling past with empty eyes and distracted hearts. This is for the remnant, for the one who has felt heaven tug but still delayed obedience. This is for you, the one who heard the whisper in the midnight hour and still wrestled with fear. This is for you, who have seen the signs repeat, the dreams intensify, the same word come again and again, yet hesitated, and yet still heaven waits. But know this truth: divine patience is not infinite. There is a holy expiration that comes when response remains absent. The Spirit of God has hovered long enough. Now He is moving, either with you or around you. This is not to frighten you, but to awaken you. What has been ordained for your elevation is in danger of reassignment, not out of punishment, but out of divine order. God will not allow sacred scrolls to collect dust. You will not let mantles sit in silence. He will pass them to the willing, to the ready, to the ones who say, "Here I am. Send me," while others still say, "Let me think about it." You must understand, this is no longer a waiting season. This is a weighing season. You are being weighed in the balance of obedience. The question now is not whether you're called. You are. The question is, will you respond before it is too late? You are hearing this now because the door of mercy has cracked open once more. You are hearing this now because God, in His grace, has interrupted your delay with a voice louder than your doubt. You are hearing this now because heaven is not passive. It is passionate about your purpose, jealous for your destiny, and unwilling to leave you behind. Do not confuse this moment. It is not another message. It is a divine ultimatum wrapped in love. Respond now, for silence is no longer safety. It is surrendering your seat at the table of destiny. To beg, with, obey. Your yes is not just for you. It is for generations unborn. What you decide now will determine what heaven writes next. This is your final call. Type "I will not be silent" in the comments if this speaks to your spirit. Blessing code 777 is breaking delay off your life right now. There hath been a disruption in your atmosphere, not in the natural, but in the spiritual. A disturbance you cannot name, yet cannot shake. You have felt it in the quiet hours when the room is still but your soul is restless. You have sensed it in the sudden waves of fatigue, the emotional turbulence that comes without cause, the confusion that clouds your clarity right when you approach a decision. This is not coincidence. This is not random. This is resistance. Heaven has sounded the alarm over your life, but the realm of darkness heard it too. And now, unseen forces have conspired to keep you delayed, distracted, and doubtful. The whispers come at night. You have time. There's no rush. Wait until the chaos settles. But what they do not want you to know is that the window is closing. The delay you have tolerated is a spiritual trap designed to drain your readiness. And every hour you hesitate, the enemy sows more confusion around your purpose. You are not just wrestling with procrastination. You are battling an unseen fog of interference. And it comes not to stop you outright, but to blur the urgency. You've lost count of the times you felt stirred to act, only to be suddenly pulled into distraction. You've heard the prompting to pray, but the phone rang. You've been nudged to write, to move, to speak, but your emotions became heavy. This is not mere distraction. This is the enemy's last tactic, delay disguised as peace, silence masquerading as safety. And still, somewhere deep in your spirit, you've known. You sensed the urgency but couldn't explain it. The sleepless nights, the restlessness in your bones, the tears without cause, the subtle anxiety when you ignored the divine prompting. That was heaven refusing to let you drift back to comfort. That was the Spirit of God unsettling your peace to redirect your path. You have outgrown the place you've been standing in, and your discomfort is not punishment, it is prophecy. But hear this now. You are not the only one watching this delay. There are eyes in the spirit realm observing your hesitation. Some are holy, waiting to release what's been reserved for you. Others are unholy, waiting to seize what you refuse to claim. This is not fear-mongering. This is a revealing. There are mantles that do not remain idle forever. There are scrolls that will not sit unfulfilled. And while heaven is merciful, it is also just. What you abandon may be handed to another who says yes when you stay silent. You have asked, why does this message feel so personal? Because it did. It was coded in heaven for your spirit, not your ears. It found you not by chance but by divine appointment. The Father sees your war. The Son remembers your promise. And the Spirit is calling louder now, because delay has almost cost you the next dimension of your purpose. You've sensed the warning in your spirit. This is confirmation, not coincidence. The same voice that called Lazarus from the grave is calling your purpose to rise. Will you let it stay bound in delay? Or will you step forward before the door closes? Type "I hear you, Lord" in the comments if this was for you. Blessing code 4141 has been released over your destiny. If this message pierced your spirit, then you already know this isn't just a video. It's a divine dispatch. Right now, you're standing in the flow of a spiritual assignment, and God is using platforms like this to awaken His chosen ones. Every time you support this message, through super thanks, membership, or giving through the PayPal link in the video description, you're not helping a channel, you're helping heaven reach the ones who are almost lost to delay. The Bible says He gives seed to the sower. That means every time you release, God multiplies. When you sow into the anointing, you partake in the harvest. The oil flows through obedience, and what you give now fuels the next word for someone else's breakthrough. I believe this moment is not random. God stirred your spirit, and if you feel led to respond, do it boldly. I declare that every giver today will receive a prophetic return. Doors opened, visions awakened, and clarity restored. Don't wait. Be the one who moves when heaven speaks. Activate your giving now. What if the delay was never delay at all? What if the silence wasn't absence but assessment? What if what you called nothing happening was, in fact, heaven watching everything? Listen now with your spirit, not your emotions. What you've been walking through is not punishment. It is preparation. It is divine examination, and the courtroom is spiritual. Before heaven releases anything of weight, it tests what will parry it. Heaven does not place power on shoulders unproven. Anointing requires alignment. Mantles require maturity. And what looked like closed doors were not God's rejection. They were God's restraint. Because to release you prematurely would have crushed you. To promote you before obedience would have suffocated you. The delay was the mercy of God making sure you didn't die under the glory meant to elevate you. Heaven does not make mistakes. It doesn't fumble over destinies. There are no accidental pauses in the Spirit. There are only seasons where God steps back and observes. Will you obey without a crowd watching? Will you say yes without applause? Will you still move when the room is silent and the heavens feel still? This has been your test. Not of talent, not of gifting, but of trust. Every moment you stood still when you should have stepped, every time you delayed when you should have obeyed, it has been recorded. Not by man, but by the watchers of heaven. Heaven keeps record, not to condemn you, but to measure your readiness. Because what is coming next in your life cannot be stewarded with emotional instability. What is being prepared for you requires the kind of obedience that moves when God whispers, not when the crowd shouts. This battle has not been external, it's been internal. It has not been about people, it's been about posture. You've been battling fear, doubt, identity, fatigue. And all the while, God has been asking one question: will you choose me, even when it costs your comfort? This is not about whether you are chosen. You are. You were marked before your mother knew your name. The heavens wrote your assignment before your first breath. But calling alone does not carry the oil. Obedience does. Many are called, few are chosen. But even fewer are obedient when obedience is inconvenient. You are standing in the fire not because you are rejected, but because you are being refined. You are not forgotten. You are being watched. Not by man, but by angels, by adversaries, by the council of heaven. You've been weighed in the Spirit, and this moment, this decision, is the tipping point. There are mantles hovering, waiting to descend. There are doors cracking, waiting for your movement. There are assignments waiting for your voice to say, "Yes, I'm ready." And here is what the Lord wants you to know. He has not changed his mind about you. You are still chosen. You are still appointed. You are still on heaven's radar. But your silence must break. Your obedience must rise. Heaven is ready to move, but it will move at the pace of your surrender. And this is the line in the Spirit. What you do next determines what heaven does next. This is your moment to break delay, reject fear, and re-enter alignment. Do not wait for another confirmation. This is the confirmation. Do not ask for another sign. This is the sign. Do not wait for peace. Obedience births peace. Heaven is watching, and the scales are in motion. Move and watch what unlocks. Type "I will obey" in the comments if this pierced your hesitation. Lesson Code 5555 is releasing clarity and divine movement over your life. Listen with your spirit wide open. The countdown has already begun. This is not a season you are entering. It is a moment that is closing. Within 72 hours, spiritual shifts will begin to manifest. Not because God is rushing you, but because heaven has waited long enough. The patience of God is perfect, but it is not eternal in the realm of opportunity. There is a divine calendar, and the clock has reached its final measure. What has hovered over you in delay will either descend or depart. Heaven is not emotional, it is order. And when the appointed time collides with silence, there is only one outcome: reassignment. The scroll that bore your name, the promise that was engraved into your bloodline, the breakthrough that had your DNA woven into its very structure. These things do not die, but they can be transferred. A kingdom does not suffer stagnation. If you do not respond, it will seek out another vessel, another voice, another yes. You were not overlooked. You were the first choice. You were the one it was meant for. But heaven's strategy is never bound to one person. If a mantle falls and no one picks it up, heaven will place it upon another. It's not cruelty, it's covenant preservation. And while you wrestle with fear and wrestle with indecision, there are others waiting, watching, ready to respond to what you hesitate to claim. You may have noticed the signs. Dreams that intensify, conversations that repeat, scriptures that echo louder than before, prophetic voices that seem to be speaking directly to you. The same message circling your spirit again and again. That's not coincidence. It's heaven's last attempt to awaken the fire before it's transferred to another altar. Heaven hath been calling, and calling again. Not because God is confused, but because He is merciful. But now, the tone has changed. You can feel it, can't you? The urgency is not casual anymore. The stirring in your spirit is more like a burning now. There's weight in the air. There's pressure in your chest. That's not stress. That's the sound of destiny knocking with force. The Spirit is no longer whispering. The Spirit is shaking. And every time you ignore it, the sound gets louder, not to torment, but to waken. There are things you asked God for that are waiting behind your next yes. There are divine appointments that cannot occur until you step in full obedience. There are spiritual timelines connected to your surrender. And if you delay further, what was meant to elevate you will not just pause, it will pass. You will still be loved. You will still be saved. But what you could have walked in may become what someone else wears. The shift is not coming. It has already begun. In the Spirit, the winds are moving. The oil is searching. The scrolls are being reassigned, and names are being updated. Heaven is not angry, but it is active. This is not a threat. It's a warning. A final call to those who have lingered long in delay. You must understand, there is no more time to question. The line is being drawn. This is the moment you choose, movement or mourning, alignment or aftermath, elevation or emptiness. You can't outrun the sound of destiny. It knows your name. It knows your location. It knows your silence. And now, it's calling again. Type "I will not miss this move" in the comments. Blessing code 8888 is now surrounding your next yes. Now that the urgency hath been released, heaven does not leave you without a strategy. Divine warnings never arrive empty, they come with instruction. What is coming requires stillness, not striving. What must be heard next will not be shouted, it will be whispered. The Lord your God is not hiding from you. He is calling you into the shelter of divine clarity. And clarity is not found in chaos. It is found in quiet. In this moment, you are being invited into the place of sacred silence. Be still. Withdraw from the voices. Step away from the noise. Close the doors that never carried your instructions and silence the sounds that have been drowning out your discernment. The distraction has not just been external. It hath been spiritual warfare sent to fracture your focus. Every open tab in your mind, every conversation not aligned with your calling, every scroll through the endless noise, these have been weapons. Not obvious ones, but subtle ones, sent to tire your soul and mute the voice of the Spirit. Heaven is not impressed by your busyness. It responds to your obedience. The path forward cannot be reasoned through. It must be revealed. And revelation only comes through intimacy. It comes when you turn the volume of the world down and tune the frequency of heaven up. Some of you have been waiting for God to shout. But the next instruction will not come through a shout. It will come in the quiet. It will come in the sacred pause. It will come when you turn your face toward the flame again. You must seal the door. The same way Elijah shut himself in a cave to hear the still small voice, you too must withdraw. The Spirit speaks loudest in the absence of distraction. And this is not just stillness for peace. It is stillness as warfare. When you stop talking, heaven starts moving. When you fast the noise, the heavens begin to open. There is a posture of listening that breaks demonic patterns. There is a kind of silence that deafens every voice that isn't God's. Some of you are battling confusion not because you lack faith, but because you lack quiet. The Father is not far. He is waiting for your retreat. Pull back. Recalibrate. Re-enter. There are instructions already waiting in the Spirit, blueprints hovering over your atmosphere, angelic movements already in place. But they won't manifest until you align in posture and presence. The noise must be traded for the whisper. The hurry must be traded for holiness. The scrolling must be traded for seeking. Withdraw. Fast. Consecrate. Not as ritual, but as realignment. You don't need more prophecy. You need to obey what you already know. Heaven has not hidden your next step. You have just been standing in the wrong sound. Come away. Find the sacred rhythm again. The voice that created galaxies is still speaking. The question is, can you hear him? Say this aloud. I am aligned. I will not miss my moment. Heaven still waits for my yes. Speak it until your soul believes it. Speak it until every demon assigned to delay your destiny flees from the sound. You are not forgotten. You are being recalibrated. But recalibration only comes through silence, through surrender, through stillness. You are closer than you think. But heaven will not shout into a storm of distractions. Come into the secret place. The instructions are waiting. Type I am ready to listen in the comments. Blessing code 7171 is unlocking divine direction over your life. You are not behind. You are not disqualified. You are not forgotten. What felt like abandonment was actually alignment in disguise. The delay did not mean denial. It meant development. Every closed door, every moment of confusion, every season that seemed stagnant was not a sign of rejection. It was a furnace of refinement. God was not ignoring you. He was forging you. This is the hour where you must stop mourning what didn't happen and start moving into what still can. You've wept over missed moments, but what if I told you heaven never missed a beat? You've cried over years that felt wasted, but what if I told you those years were sacred soil, and what's about to grow will multiply faster than what was lost? This is the moment where your perspective must rise. You have not been passed over. You've been preserved. Do not let shame whisper lies about the past. Shame is a language foreign to heaven. The blood of Jesus does not speak in regret. It speaks in redemption. And that voice is calling your name now, not to remind you of what you didn't do, but to resurrect what was buried underneath your fear. You were never meant to stay in a place of spiritual paralysis. You were meant to move with fire. You were meant to rise in purpose. You were meant to respond in power. Let this be the moment where fear loses its grip. Let this be the hour where you stop asking, God, do you still want me? And begin declaring, God, I'm still here, and I'm ready. You've been battle-tested, wilderness-trained, and fire-forged. And now, the ashes beneath your feet are turning into platforms. The things that tried to bury you are about to testify for you. You are being reawakened, not into who you were, but into who you were always becoming. This is not your restoration of what was lost. It is your resurrection into what was hidden. Hidden potential. Hidden oil. Hidden fire. The silence you endured became the soundproof room where God rebuilt you without distraction. And now, you are emerging, not as a survivor, but as a weapon. Not as a wanderer, but as a warrior. Can you feel it now? The shift, the stirring. That's not adrenaline. That's divine acceleration. Something is quickening inside of you, because heaven is breathing again. Heaven is moving again. And this time, it's not around you, it's through you. You are the one God preserved in secret. You are the one who was delayed for such a time as this. You are the one being called out of hiding, not in weakness, but in authority. This is the holy comeback, the divine return. Not to where you were, but to who you were. The fire did not consume you. It forged you. The flood did not drown you. It carried you. The silence did not break you. It baptized you into power. And now, the same voice that once warned you is now empowering you. Rise. Walk forward. Speak boldly. Move with the rhythm of heaven. You are not behind schedule. You are right on heaven's time. You are not being punished. You are being positioned. The divine alert over your life is not a death sentence. It is a birth announcement. You are reactivated. You are realigned. You are ready. Type "I am forged for this" in the comments. Blessing code 1616 is activating restoration and divine momentum. Heaven does not forget. It remembers what it initiates. It watches over what it authors. And everything you thought had been lost, every dream, every calling, every assignment once whispered to your spirit, it has not been dismissed. It has been suspended, put on hold, not because you were unworthy, but because you were not yet ready. Not because you failed, but because the weight of what was coming required a deeper foundation. And now, the Spirit of the Lord is peeling back the veil, revealing what was hidden beneath your season of silence. Hear this now. The delay was not denial. The disruption was not disapproval. It was a divine filter. Heaven was testing your readiness, not just your desire. Many can desire elevation, but few can survive refinement. And God, in His mercy, refused to release what would destroy you in your unprepared state. The stillness you endured, the divine pause you questioned, the countless nights of asking, "Lord, where are you?" All of it was a setup for this very moment. Heaven was not silent. It was measuring. Measuring your patience. Measuring your posture. Measuring your persistence. Measuring whether your yes was conditional or consecrated. And now, with scales tipped in your favor, the Spirit speaks again. Your name has not been removed. Your file has not been closed. The scroll with your assignment is still open, and it's waiting for your signature of obedience. You must understand, assignments in the spirit realm are not casual. They are sealed with blood, written in fire, and guarded by angels. Yours has been preserved. You haven't missed it, you've matured for it. The enemy wanted you to believe it was gone, that your mistake disqualified you, that your delay canceled it. But the truth is, your delay only delayed it. It did not destroy it. This is the unlocking. The divine alert came not just to warn, but to awaken. The very thing you thought was over is about to break open before your eyes. But it requires one action: your agreement. Heaven cannot force your elevation. It can only present the opportunity again. And right now, the scroll is being unrolled, the ink is fresh, and the Spirit is hovering over the place where your name sits, waiting for you to say, "Yes, I'm ready." The resistance you felt lately is proof that what was sealed is about to be released. The warfare increased not because you were off course, but because you are right at the threshold. That threshold is not a fantasy. It is real. And the moment your heart aligns, the doors that refused to open for years will swing wide. Not by force, by obedience. You don't need a push, you need a position. You are being summoned again, not with wrath but with mercy, not with judgment but with joy. The heavens are rejoicing because one who was asleep is awakening. One who was delayed is moving. One who was unsure is now confident. And the hosts of heaven are ready to escort you back into the lane you were born to walk in. Say yes. This time, fully. Say yes. This time, without fear. Say yes. This time, without delay. Type "I say yes to heaven" in the comments. Blessing code 2121 is unlocking scrolls of destiny in your favor. Right now, you are standing in a moment of prophetic clarity, a place where heaven is revealing secrets, restoring assignments, and reigniting callings. And as this word reaches your spirit, know this: it isn't just for you. It's for every soul who needs to hear that they are not forgotten, not disqualified, not done. That's why we do this. Not for numbers, not for blather, but for purpose, God's purpose. When you give, whether through YouTube Super Thanks, membership, or through the PayPal link in the description, you're not giving to a brand. You're sowing into a supernatural movement. You're saying, "Let this word reach another soul before it's too late." Just as heaven watches over your obedience, it also honors your sacrifice. Your seed becomes someone else's confirmation. Your generosity becomes someone else's awakening. This is holy ground, and when you give on holy ground, heaven moves. I declare that every supporter right now will walk in prophetic speed, divine compensation, and spiritual fire. This is more than generosity. It's prophetic partnership. So boldly, heaven remembers. Now comes the shift from hearing to doing, from being warned to being activated. Destiny does not respond to emotion. It responds to engagement. And heaven is waiting, not for your feelings, but for your yes. Not whispered in silence, but declared in faith. This is your moment to rise. Your moment to speak. Your moment to let all of heaven know, I choose to respond to the call. The scroll is open. The oil is ready. The doors are waiting. But heaven cannot force your hand. It can only extend the invitation. And right now, that invitation is burning in your spirit. You've heard the warning. You felt the pull. You've seen the signs. Now is the hour to activate the promise. It is time to make your obedience audible in the realm of the Spirit. Say it with your voice. Say it with your decisions. Say it with your movement. Let your yes resound across the realms that have watched you hesitate. Declare it. I accept the assignment. Say it with boldness. Say it with clarity. Say it until every delaying spirit loses grip. Say it until every old narrative breaks. You are not your past obedience. You are not your past silence. You are not your past hesitation. You are your present agreement with heaven. And your yes, this yes, carries power to shift timelines, realign atmospheres, and reopen what was closing. Heaven's timing is not mechanical. It is relational. It waits for response. And when your spirit says yes, fully, wholly, completely, divine machinery begins to move. Angels are dispatched. Chains are shattered. Territories are transferred. The sound of surrender activates movement in the courts of heaven. And right now, that sound is what creation is groaning to hear from you. You not wait to feel ready. Obedience is not about comfort. It is about alignment. Move even if your knees shake. Speak even if your voice trembles. Write the vision. Make the call. Finish the assignment. Forgive the one who wounded you. Release the weight of delay. Take the step. The proof of your readiness is not in your confidence. It's in your willingness to move without it. The Spirit of God is hovering, not waiting for the perfect you, but the present you. The one who is willing. The one who will stop overthinking and start stepping. The one who doesn't need 10 more confirmations. The one who recognizes the hour. Heaven is not interested in lip service. It is waiting for your obedience to become visible. This is not your ending. This is not a closing chapter. This is your reactivation. This is heaven reaching down and reigniting what religion tried to smother, what fear tried to suppress, what time tried to bury. You are not too late. You are not too broken. You are not too far gone. You are right on time, because time bows to the voice of repentance, and alignment opens what delay tried to deny. This is the hour where your voice must rise, not to complain, not to question, but to agree. Agree with your assignment. Agree with your anointing. Agree with the God who never removed your name from the scroll. And as you say yes, as you activate your destiny, everything around you must respond. The atmosphere must shift. The warfare must break. The doors must open. And what was once suspended will now be set in motion. Heaven is listening. Make it loud. Make it holy. Make it final. Type my yes is final in the comments. Blessing code 1212 is activating divine acceleration over your obedience. While you wrestled in silence, while you questioned in stillness, while your lips could not form the words but your spirit groaned for clarity, heaven was moving. You did not see it. You could not trace it. But it was happening. Behind the veil, a silent exchange was taking place. You assumed delay. You assumed disappointment. But God was negotiating your restoration. There are moments in your journey when everything appears quiet, when the prayers feel unanswered, when the heavens feel closed, when it seems as though nothing is moving. But in the spirit realm, there is no such thing as inactivity. There is only divine negotiation. And while you were waiting for a word, angels were trading your tears for scrolls. While you were asleep, heaven was rewriting your path, restructuring timelines, and reinstating what your silence almost forfeited. You see, in the courts of heaven, nothing is random. Every hesitation has weight. Every yes carries consequence. And yet, even in your stillness, your spirit cried out. Even when you were silent in the natural, your heart made a sound, the sound heaven responded to. You thought you missed the moment, but God heard the ache behind your silence. You thought you delayed too long, but the Spirit took what little faith was left and made intercession for you. And in that unseen place, a sacred exchange began. What was taken unjustly is being reassigned back. What was blocked is now being revisited. What was closed is being reopened, but not in the same condition. It's returning to you upgraded. It's returning to you with fire. It's returning to you with the evidence that heaven never forgot who you are. Some of you have felt a strange sense of urgency recently, a pressure in your chest, a deep, inexplicable ache, a pull that you couldn't describe, but couldn't ignore. That wasn't stress. That wasn't coincidence. That was your spirit picking up the sound of divine movement. That was your soul catching the scent of favor returning. Before your mind could comprehend it, your spirit already sensed it. The shift, the release, the reactivation. You have not lost what heaven authored. You have only delayed its manifestation. And now, in this hour, a decision made in private is triggering a public reversal. You won't need to knock this time. The door is opening. You won't have to beg for it. It was already yours. And while others thought you were behind, the Spirit was working out the exchange on your behalf. This is the beauty of divine justice. God works in silence, but manifests in glory. You are stepping into something heaven has already approved. The paperwork has been processed. The seal has been marked. The angels have received the order. And it all happened in the silence, in the quiet where you thought nothing was moving. Now it comes. Now it begins. Not because you pushed, not because you performed, but because heaven fought for what your hesitation almost forfeited. The God who knows the end from the beginning secured the middle while you were trying to understand it. And now, what was locked is being unlocked. What was suspended is being released. What was whispered in secret is about to thunder in the open. Nothing is lost. Nothing is wasted. Everything is returning, but only because you said yes. Type "the exchange is complete" in the comments. Blessing code 1010 is now releasing your recompense and spiritual return. The hour of justice has come. What the enemy thought was forgotten, heaven has recorded. What people mocked in your delay, heaven has vindicated in your obedience. For every moment you were ridiculed, for every time you were counted out, for every time your name was mentioned in pity or contempt, heaven was listening, and heaven has remembered. Now the scales are shifting. Now the gavel falls. Divine reversal is underway. You may not have heard it in the natural, but in the spirit realm. A verdict was just announced. A holy decree was released on your behalf, and it carries the full weight of heaven's authority. God is not only restoring what was yours, He's reversing what was used against you. The same voices that questioned your call will now have to witness your elevation. The same doors that rejected you will now require your presence to function. The tables have turned, not out of revenge but out of righteous justice. This is the part of the process no one talks about. The moment where heaven silences every lie that was spoken over your delay. The mockery you endured is not forgotten. God saw the whispers behind closed doors. He heard the opinions veiled in concern. You watched as some tried to profit from your absence, as others tried to replace your position while you were still being refined. But now the season of hiddenness has ended, and the justice of God demands that those who watched your delay must now witness your return. This isn't petty. This is prophetic. The justice of God doesn't retaliate. It restores with glory. It doesn't punish. It repositions. And right now, in this very hour, heaven is aligning you with a divine reversal that no man, no demon, and no system can block. What was denied you is being returned with interest. What was shut in your face is now opening with force. And those who scoffed at your stillness will now marvel at your speed. God never wastes obedience. Even delayed obedience still bears fruit when surrender is true. You did not miss your moment. You merely gave heaven room to multiply it. You trusted. You endured. You stood in silence when others ran ahead. And now, your reward is being unsealed. You are walking into rooms you didn't knock on. You are receiving answers you stopped asking for. You are stepping into favor that looks impossible, because that's what divine reversal feels like. It confounds the proud and confirms the faithful. Let this be the hour where every lie is silenced. Let this be the day where vindication begins. The oil was never removed. The calling was never canceled. The throne room never forgot your name. This justice was never delayed. It was maturing. It was building weight. And now, it falls upon your life like a flood. Not a trickle. A torrent. Not partial. Complete. Not maybe. Out. You are the evidence that God defends the obedient. You are the proof that divine timing is still undefeated. You are the reminder that heaven doesn't forget, and justice always comes, not when we demand it, but when we're ready to carry it without pride. Lift your head. Your vindication is here. Your reversal has been decreed. Type "the justice of heaven is my portion" in the comments. Blessing Code 3030 is now enforcing your spiritual reversal and vindication. Heaven called. You heard. And this time you answered. Let the silence break. Let the delay end. Let the door open. The sound of your obedience has been received. The weight of your yes has activated what was dormant. The Father has leaned in. The Son has stood in agreement. The Spirit has moved forward with power. You have not just responded to a word. You have realigned with a divine appointment written before time itself. Your delay is over. Your restoration is real. And the heavens are no longer waiting. They are now walking with you. You are not late. You are not broken. You are not unqualified. You are chosen. You are covered. You are called. The fire did not burn you. It branded you. The storm did not drown you. It deepened you. The waiting did not waste you. It worked you into readiness. And now, by the mercy of God, you stand as one who has crossed over from questioning into confirmation, from hesitation into holy momentum. This is the shift. This is the divine moment that generations before you prayed you would not miss. And you didn't. You showed up. You listened. You responded. And because of that, heaven will move with you now, not around you. The oil is falling again. The scroll is signed. The mantle is placed. The doors are opening. And the eyes of the Lord are set upon you with favor, because your response has aligned with His divine timeline. Let this moment echo into eternity. Your yes will not be wasted. Your obedience has routed what delay tried to dismantle. The alarm was sounded, and this time your spirit said, "I'm ready." And all of heaven has taken notice. I release over you now a final blessing. May divine speed chase down your obedience. May clarity silence every counterfeit voice. May favor be your companion and fire your covering. May your path be illuminated and your purpose undeniable. May the peace of God anchor your soul as you step into what no eye has seen and no ear has heard. You are sealed. You are seen. You are sent. Heaven will not move without you now. Type "I am sealed by heaven" in the comments. Blessing code 9999 is now marking your new beginning. If this message has met you at a divine moment, then understand, this wasn't a video, it was a visitation. A prophetic transaction between your spirit and the throne room of God. And now, just as you've received, you can help release. When you support this ministry, through Super Thanks, YouTube membership, or through the PayPal link in the description, you're not funding content. You are fueling kingdom confrontation in the lives of those who are still on the edge of delay. God said in Isaiah 55, "My word will not return void." And when you sow into a word like this, you're not giving to a person. You're anchoring that word into the earth. You're sending it out to reach another soul who doesn't even know yet that heaven is about to call their name. If you've been stirred, moved, convicted, this is your moment to act. Don't just receive the word. Honor it. Seed into it. Activate it for others. I declare that every giver will walk in an overflow of the word they just heard. Restoration, promotion, release, and divine timing, all loosed in their life as they step into prophetic partnership. Give boldly. Give prophetically. Give like someone who knows heaven is still speaking.